The conflict in Gaza, as we know, has reached unprecedented levels of destruction and displacement. From your vantage point as UNRWA Commissioner General, what is the humanitarian situation on the ground as we speak, and how do you respond to those who argue that Palestinians are being deliberately forced out to make room for Israeli control?
You know, I believe it's more and more difficult to describe the humanitarian situation. We are almost out of words. I think what Palestinians in Gaza are going through, it's hell in all its possible facets. We have seen over the last 20 months already a total destruction. We have seen that there is absolutely no safe place for the Gazan. We have seen that health center, hospitals, schools, worship places have been targeted. We have seen an extraordinary toll within the population. More than 65,000 people have been killed, among them a vast majority of civilian and women and children. And now Gaza is also described as being a place suffering of starvation. A famine has been declared, and weeks after the famine has been declared, you have an entire population in the north being forced again to move, and an unprecedented military operation taking place. Gaza is not only reduced in rubble, but it's almost reduced into dust right now. So it's unbelievable. Now, where is this leading us? Indeed, the entire population is forced to move from the north to the south. They will be parked in the south like a very large, overcrowded, open prison or concentration camp. And the question is, will the people in the Gaza be forced out of the Gaza Strip? Will Gaza continue, yes or not, to be the homeland of the Palestinians? I really hope so, but today no one can have any certainty right now.
As we know, several countries, most recently France, several countries, including Canada, Australia, have recognized Palestine as a state. I want to get your reaction to that, and if this recent movement is going to make any difference for the people in Gaza, the situation on the ground, and also a path toward peace. What does this do?
It is true that today a number of countries are also recognizing the state of Palestine. In reality, they are joining already 140 member states who did already recognize the state of Palestine. I believe it's definitely an important milestone. It's also a way to say that we need to do so now, because we have never been so far away from the reality of a two-state solution. And if we do not wake up now and genuinely commit politically to such a solution, that might never happen. So I believe it cannot be a goal in itself. The real work will have to start now. There is a kind of a roadmap also which has been agreed by the General Assembly a few days ago, which is the New York Declaration, which basically also tells what is expected to make this two-state solution a reality. So the declaration per se is not enough to make a change on the ground, but what could make a difference on the ground is a genuine commitment to achieve, to start with, a ceasefire, and once a ceasefire is in place, to implement the New York Declaration.
So do you think this is helpful to get to a ceasefire?
I do believe it is helpful to force the member states to show the real and genuine commitment to promote a political solution and to be more invested in a peace process.
UNRWA has been accused by its critics of being politicized, while its defenders, of course, say that what UNRWA does is indispensable. How do you strike the balance between being a humanitarian, a neutral humanitarian agency, and speaking on issues that are political?
You know, in this part of the world, everything is political. We are a human development focused organization, but evolving in an extremely divided emotional environment, highly politicized. I keep reminding colleagues that even talking about waste management in a Palestinian refugee camp can be read through a political lens. So it is true that the agency has been accused, especially since October 2023, of being politically biased, of having been infiltrated by Palestinian faction, including the Hamas or the Jihad. But in reality, all these attacks are part of disinformation campaign, which motivation is to strip the Palestinian from the refugee statute, dismantling the agency, getting rid of the agency, in reality aims at stripping the Palestinian from this statute, because there is a belief in Israel that the agency is perpetuating the dependency of the Palestinian refugees. But in reality, what's perpetuate the agency and the Palestinian refugee is nothing else than the absence of a political solution.
China has become more active at the United Nations, including when it comes to Middle East issues. From your perspective, what role can China play in supporting UNRWA's work and contributing to a fair and lasting resolution of the Palestinian question?
China has politically always been a strong supporter of the agency mandate, has always promoted, in fact, the renewal of the mandate in the absence of a political solution. I do believe that China can be much more now involved in supporting also the agency to have the necessary resource to fully implement what member states, including China, expect us to do. We should never forget that the primary role of the agency in the absence of a political solution is to provide public-like services to one of the most destitute communities across the region, being the Palestinian refugees in Lebanon, in Syria, in Jordan, the West Bank, East Jerusalem, and Gaza. Basically, we provide primary, secondary education, we provide primary health, we function like a public-like institution, but we have none of the fiscal tools. We are not covered by the regular budget of the United Nations. We primarily depend on voluntary contribution. And I do believe that in that sense, any political support the agency is receiving from the member state should be accompanied by matching resources.
2025 is a big year here at the United Nations, marking 80 years since its founding. Do you believe that the UN has lived up to its founding principles? And what change needs to happen for it to remain relevant in the decades ahead?
Well, it's an important question. There is absolutely no doubt that the United Nations, which symbolize the commitment of the international community into multilateralism, into a rule-based order that we have inherited from World War II, is under assault. We have also seen that an agency like UNRWA is under severe assault. International humanitarian law also is at risk of becoming irrelevant because of its, I would say, double gears application, and especially in the context we were referring to, the Middle East. So more than ever, the UN80 should be the occasion of a reaffirmation of the member state that there is no alternative. We are in a world where there is more and more multipolarism, regionalism. Number of countries prefer to promote national agenda first, but in reality, many of the global problems will not be addressed without talking to each other. I do believe that the UN will continue to be relevant. There is no better convening place than the United Nations, but it needs to be treated better than it has been over the last few years.